Hello, everyone. Welcome to Find Happiness. Today we have a six-figure making coach in the house. His name is Deano Delpleash. I hope I'm pronouncing it right.
And yeah, it's close enough.
Okay. So the reason we have Deano in the house today is everybody wants to make money. And making money is your business. It's my business. But there are certain factors in making money that we have to look at, like the ups and downs and all that, and those things that cause depression. That's why we have Find Happiness, where we bring to you resource persons like Deano to tell you how to go about it and avoid these ups and downs. So right here we have Deano. Deano, say hello to the house.
Yeah, blessed love, Lawani. It's really a pleasure to be here and talking and engaging with everyone. Yeah, and can't wait one day to be traveling to your side of the world, yeah, to enjoy some Niger food, yeah.
Nice. It's good to have you here. So how's it going by the day? How's it going? How's everything?
Oh, it's been a cold day for me on this side, man. But otherwise than that, it's been good, yeah. Just getting work done as usual. Right now, my girlfriend is traveling, so I'm home alone for this time being. So I'm really missing her, and hopefully she'll be back soon.
Oh, that's a lovely cat over there. Nice one.
He's a miserable boy. I don't even want to touch him because he's gonna bite me and start touching the camera.
Oh, I see.
But he's curious. Okay. He's curious.
I know. Hey, kitty. All right, so let's go to the business of the day. So can you tell me about your experience with suicidal thought and how it led you to pursuing personal development and self-improvement?
You know, it's very interesting. On the first thing I must say, I'm really happy that we're having this conversation because I think it's a conversation we don't have a lot within our society as Blacks, yeah, especially Black men. And I remembered in the year, it was 2016, 2017, you know, I was there on the 7th floor of my school dormitory. And there was one word going through my head, Lawani. Jump, Dino. What? Jump.
Okay.
Just get it over with, yeah. You know, that's the only way you can stop all the pain. And that was the first time I ever had a thought of wanting to kill myself. You know, the funny, at that point, I realized that something was wrong. Yeah, I wasn't in a good place, you know, financially. Yeah, I was having a lot of issues in my relationship romantically. And on most days, I spend most days just going through the motions, you know, as if, you know, I'm a walking dead. I can remember this one time, you know, this girl saw me and she was asking me if everything is okay. And I said everything was okay when everything was not. On my best days, I spend my best days in bed just scrolling through social media. Yeah. And I remember one day, I was scrolling, I came across a speaker by the name of Jim Rohn. Are you familiar with Jim Rohn?
No. But that's fine.
You should check him out. But and it was as if he was speaking directly to me. You know, it was as if he popped out the screen and he looked directly to me and he said, Dino, for things to change for you, you gotta change. And I was like, whoa, that's so true. Like everything that I'm experiencing right now in my life is as a result of my performance and what I'm creating in life. But I didn't know what to do at that moment. So I did what any other human being would have done. I stayed in bed and I continued scrolling. And then he said this, he said, learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your business. And I was like, whoa, that makes so much sense. But no one has ever told me anything like this before. And I'm like, why hasn't anybody tell me stuff like this? And maybe they did and I didn't pay attention. But I didn't know what to do. And I stayed in bed and I continued scrolling until he said this. This is what he said that literally made a difference to me. He said, Dino, don't let your learning lead to knowledge. Let your learning lead to action. And that's when I got the message. Yeah, I realized that if things were going to change for me, I needed to get up and move. Yeah, I couldn't wait for somebody to be my knight in shining armor to come and save the day. I needed to get up and take action. And what I did, I made a commitment on that day that I'm going to get up every morning at 5 a.m. and I'm going to go running. Yeah, I didn't know what to do, but I figured that was what my inner voice was telling me, just to move. Yeah, and you know, if we're going to really shift gear into a higher our higher performing self, we need to activate our fullest potential and become a high performer in whatever it is that we do. Yeah. So, and those are my 3 guiding principles for life. Yeah. For us, if things gonna change for you, you gotta change personally. Yeah. Learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your business. Yeah. And don't let your learning lead to knowledge. Let your learning lead to action.
Wow, great. If I don't pick anything from what you have said, don't just learn, don't just read, don't just listen. You have to put everything to action. And
yes,
sometimes, it's good to just fall into the hands of people like the author you just talked about, where he spoke directly to you and he switched things in your life. Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks for sharing this.
Yeah.
Thank God you didn't commit suicide. If not, you wouldn't have been here.
yeah. And I think that moment in my life, actually, it was a blessing and a curse. It was more of a blessing because that moment let me realize that I have a lot of people who's close to me who's going through the same thing and they're not speaking up. Yeah, and this particular experience catapulted me to create a community of over 1,000 students, who was, engaged in building a healthier lifestyle on the same campus. So I think that was more or less the start of my entrepreneurial journey. During that time, I was recognized by an investor locally who wanted to invest money into us creating a business together. And that was my first taste of entrepreneurship. This guy wanted to give me all this money to try some business stuff. It failed. Yeah, it failed. But what was most important is that I learned. I learned about, how to take imperfect action to, create a business from nothing. And after that, I went on to get my master's in entrepreneurship, because after I tasted what entrepreneurship was, being able to take something that doesn't exist and create it into something that can make money, that was it for me. And I really wanted to learn how to take what I was doing and make it into something profitable. So I think it's been the thing that has catapulted my journey of personal development. And through that journey, I've just been inspired to make sure those around me become more aware of, what they're capable of, what are their full potential, what are the endless possibilities that are just waiting to be born, from you.
Wow. Sounding like the siren. Wow. So speaking to depression, right? I believe that before the time you had those suicidal thoughts, you were really, really, really depressed. And then when you got to hear that message, there was this transformation. So can you tell me how you were able to navigate through that process and get off depression and came back to the normal Deano that we know now?
Yeah. Well, I don't even think I came back to the normal Deano. I think the Deano is the Deano who came back. Now I'm saying Deano. Deano who came back. The Deano who came back was a new and improved Deano. And during that time, to be honest, Lawani, I felt hopeless. I didn't feel like it was possible for me to change. I didn't feel that at all while I was going through that process. However, those motivational speakers give me hope. They paint a picture for me that I didn't know was possible. I didn't know that I can invest time in myself to become better. So that made me curious. And how I did it by taking the least possible action I know to myself to do. And I would get up every morning at 5 a.m. and I'll go running. And there was morning it's raining, I'll get up, I'll run. There's morning it's snowed, I'll get up and run. And I've been a martial artist for quite some time, since I was a teenager. So what I start doing after start running, I start to feel a little better. So I realized, okay, let me practice some of my taekwondo, whether it's my kicks, my stance. And as time goes by, my friends start realizing that I was changing. And not only I was changing physically, the things I was saying was changing as well, because when I run to the field and come back, I'll have one of those motivational tapes in my ears every day, and I'm listening to the same tape over and over over and over. And
Wow.
every time I'm listening, I'm getting something new, you know, like something new, like it's always a new, even it's the same tape. So I think that was it for me. That was what pulled me out of that state and really create, I should say, Deano 2.0. Yeah, because I became a different person. Yeah, I start having ambition of wanting to be a speaker. Yeah, because when I gathered these guys on the field, I wanted them to know what I was learning. So one of the things that I start doing is that I'll share the stories that I was learning. I'll share the lessons at the end of the workout to a point where I was known as the, how to say, well, they used to call me the speaking coach. Yeah, because I would give a speech at the end of every one of my sessions. So yeah.
Oh, great. What inspired you to become a high performance coach, and how do you help? How do I put this? How do you help high achieving coaches and experts launch a 6-figure business?
Well, I think my journey started in 2016. Yeah, it started with a drive. Yeah, to want to create something. Yeah, that would give me the freedom. Yeah, to live on my own terms. Yeah. And that started with my master's degree. I did a master's degree in entrepreneurship and global leadership. So, really understanding the business atmosphere and what that's like. And yeah, being in China for all those years. And I graduated in 2019. And that year when I graduated, I left China at the end of 2019 with the intention of going back in March. And then COVID happened. Yeah, so COVID happened, and then I'm at home. And I'm like, okay, so what should I do? And I had the money to buy my plane ticket. I just graduated. I didn't have money. I wasn't working. Even though in China I was working and trying to go to school, but you don't make that much money when you're working as an intern. So the money that I had was for my flight. Yeah, and then COVID happened, and nobody know what's gonna happen. And at that time I was like, you know what? I think this is time for me to really start a business, try and do this business thing by myself. Yeah, and at that time I was trying to do business in China with my community, but I was failing it. Things wasn't working well. Even though I had a big community, the money that was coming in couldn't support life for myself and even the team that I had. And when 2020 happened, it was more or less a reset for me. It was like restart. Yeah, and that time I said I need to learn from somebody who has done this before. Yeah. And I reached out to a few people on the internet that I saw. Yeah, and then I didn't really get any positive response until I came across this one coach named Vince Del Monte. And he's a 7-figure coach, and he helped other fitness pros, launch their business. Yeah. So I sent him a message, and then I was telling him about my journey, and then he responded, and we started a conversation. And at that time, he offered me to join his mastermind, and I couldn't afford it. I couldn't afford it. And I told him honestly, I told him what I want to do, and I told him about him being a student. And then he said, okay, then we'll make a deal. And then he cut me a really good deal where I could have invested every month to be in his mastermind. And that was like a 6-figure mastermind that I joined. And I joined that, and that's why I started to learn about sales and marketing. Yeah, and school never taught me about this stuff. School tell me about operation and creating products and all these stuff. They never told us how to make money. That's when I started to learn how to make money. Yeah. And I remember creating my first fitness program. I was a fitness coach at that time, my first online fitness program. And I charged $97 for that program for 3 months. And I thought that was a lot of money, Lawani. I thought that was a lot of money. And still my friends thought that was expensive. Yeah. And I'm in this group with these people who are making 6 figures, and their programs are so expensive. I'm like, something's not clicking. They're as good as me. I'm as good as them. And they're charging so much. So as time went by, I started to raise my price. I raised my price to $197. And I realized people are still buying. Yeah, I still got clients who's interested to spend that type of money. Some people were saying no, and it was too expensive, but there were people who still bought. And then I had even more courage to raise the price to $297. Yeah, and as time goes by, I'm just implementing, taking action on what I'm learning. And guess what? People were still paid. Yeah.
Oh,
And then I raised my
yeah.
price all the way up to, no, then it was $497 for the 3 months. People still paid. And I raised it all the way up to $997
Wow.
for a 3 month program. Yeah, and
Yeah,
people
yeah.
still paid. And there was an imposter syndrome in me, to be honest. Like, even to have the courage to charge somebody that amount of money for my services. Yeah, I didn't believe in the value of what I was offering, not knowing that it is really valid. There are people who need somebody like me to hold them accountable and really support them on that journey. And at the end of 2020, yeah, my girlfriend was in China and I wanted to, get back to China. So at that point, I had a decision to make. And throughout that period, I learned that I didn't want to be a fitness coach. I wanted to be something more. Yeah, because one of the things that I really enjoyed with my clients was at the end of the week, hopping on a call and really help them get unstuck with whatever is happening in their life. Yeah, and that's why I started to get more into the coaching business. Yeah, I realized there were people who actually support leaders in this capacity to help them become more productive, help them see clarity, and really, create a structure and a support system around what they're doing. Yeah, and that's where I enrolled in a high performance coaching program just before, like, it was that transition point before I left home to go back to China. And now we're at the end of 2020, and I got a job to come back to China as an engineer. So I came back. So I was trying to do my coaching on the side and do my full-time job as well. And that was a challenge, yeah, but I made it work. And I think it's in mid 2021, I decided to switch my job, change my job, and I was going to give up entrepreneurship and just get a high paying job, make good money. Like, I'm qualified. Yeah, I have a master's degree and I'm a disciplined individual. And during that period when I was going to switch my job, the policies in China started to change around a particular industry. And that was the exact industry that I was going to go in. And my new employer called me 3 days before I was resigning and tell me that, they can't move forward with my visa transition. And I was like, what the hell? Can you imagine my team already throw a celebration farewell party for me? Yeah. And now my new employer is telling me that they can't hire me anymore. Yeah, because things aren't going well with business. Yeah. And at that point, I had two decisions to make. Yeah. One, go back to my previous employer and ask him back for the job. Yeah. Two, go full time and start my own business. Yeah. And yeah, my girlfriend looked at me and she said, you already know what you want to do. Yeah, you've been asking for this and now God created an opportunity. Yeah, and that's when I took the plunge and I started as a full-time coach. At that time, I wasn't doing my own business. I partnered with another coach, but I was doing my own thing, started to get my own clients. So for the initial year in 2021 and 2022, I was focusing on high performance coaching. Yeah, I was helping leaders to become more productive in what they were doing. And I spent 1 year and just applying everything that I knew in business, and it was quite interesting that in that 1 year time, I was able to pass the 6-figure mark as a coach in the city. And it was crazy to a sense that a lot of coaches thought that, it's hard to do in China. However, I did it. And one of the reasons why I did it, I realized a lot of coaches are really great coach, but then they're not really good at sales and entrepreneurship and really how to, run a business. So there's two different skill set there. One, being a great coach, and then two, being a good entrepreneur, knowing how to make money. Yeah. So that's a lot to really put in a nutshell, but that's the entire journey of how I made that switch. So this year, one of my biggest mission is to help other high achieving coaches launch their own 6-figure business, using the same strategies that I've implemented. And, the funny thing about this is that the information ain't magical. There's no secret. It's a matter of action. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Lao Tzu have this quote that says that, strategy without tactic slowly leads to victory. But tactic without strategy is just noise before defeat. Yeah. So once you have a strategy, you follow that strategy and you apply the strategy. And in time, if you're patient and you're disciplined, you would reap the reward. Yeah.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Okay, you talked about professional. What's this word? What's this word? Living. So I'm trying to speak to being professional and being a high performance individual. So this is how I want to even put this question to you, because this is going to be very important to people who would want to follow you and learn from you. Um, okay, so how do you help clients balance their personal and professional lives while striving for high performance? I know you
Yeah,
laugh because you
I
talked
love that
about it
question.
just now. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And that's a very important question.
Yeah.
That made me think of this quote that says that when opportunity knocks, yeah, don't be surprised when hard work answers. Yeah. And
Yeah.
another one that would be important is, you know, what's achievable isn't always important. Yeah. As high performers, as human beings, we have the capacity for so much more. Yeah. And sometimes that can be our biggest bottleneck, because we have a capacity for so much more. We get distracted so easily. Yeah. And we call that the shiny object syndrome. Yeah. So one of the things that I do with my client is more or less a 6-step process. The first principle of high performance leadership is seeking clarity. Yeah. And you need to be clear about who you want to be. Yeah. That's very important. You need to have a clear picture of who you are when you're at your best. Yeah. You need to start. That's where you need to start. You need to have a clear idea of what are your values, what are important to you. Yeah. How would you like to interact with the world? So for someone who's listening and maybe you don't have an answer to that question, let me ask you this. Let's say you had to meet your future best self. Yeah. And you see what you see, you hear what you hear, and maybe even feel what you feel, because that's the future you, and you can really embody that feeling. What are 3 words you'll use to describe that person? Yeah, and I'm sure as you are thinking about these questions, you're already having some answer. What is coming up for you, Lawani?
So I think that the one word is the person is God sent. 2, God sent. God sent. Well, an achiever. And I'll use the word wise. The person is wise.
Yeah, God sent, an achiever, and wise. Yeah, and let me ask: do you feel like you're showing up as that person every day?
Come again.
Do you feel as though you're showing up like that person each day?
Of course, people you look up to, you would always try to measure up to them. So they will always be ahead of you until you can measure up. You need to measure up though, so that's a tricky one. Not really.
Well, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but that's the idea, is to become aware of who you are when you're at your best, and show up every day trying to close that gap. So when you start living life from that frame of mind, you'll ask yourself, when you're making decisions now, what would God sent Lewani do in a situation like this? What would the wise Lewani do? Yeah. And then once we establish that point of reference, we have a clear idea of what is meaningful to us. Yeah, how we want to feel, how we want to show up in the world. Yeah. The next step is, energy. Yeah. And now you need the fuel to create that person. Yeah. If you have clarity of who you want to be, and you're unable to shop as that person, you'll fall out of integrity with yourself, and your self-esteem will drop. You'll feel demotivated, you'll feel frustrated. So the next thing is energy. I need to make sure that you as a leader, is really implementing the energy protocols that will help you to shop as your best. Yeah, whether it's through having a routine where you're walking, going to the gym. Yeah, we start simple. Yeah, and once you have the energy to really shop powerfully, the next thing is courage. Yeah, Because most often there's some difficult conversations in your life that you need to have that you have been avoiding. There are some difficult relationship that you need to drop that you haven't dropped as yet. Yeah, and we'll really use a comb and really iron through your life to really establish what are the things that are causing you not to show up more confidently and bold in your life. Yeah, and once we establish those and you're taking action, yeah, and we're already clear about what your goals are. In the beginning, we set goals. Your goal will be to get to 6-figure. Yeah. So what I'm doing is just getting rid of all the obstacles that is going to prevent you from getting there and giving you the fuel that you need. The next thing is all about productivity, your focus. What are the habits and routines that are causing you to fall off course? And what are the habits and routine that's going to cause you to stay on track? Yeah. What are the actions that you need to take every day? Yeah, we usually call these lead indicators. What are the lead indicators that would help you to move towards your goal of 6 figures? Yeah, and usually they're very clear. Yeah, for a coach, that would be conversations. Yeah, you need to get into conversations with clients. You need to get into conversation with prospects. And whether it is at a networking event, whether it is through social media, yeah, there are certain things that you need to do. So once we establish what those habits are, yeah, you have the energy to go towards it. Now you're more confident and courageous. Yeah, nothing is gonna stand in your way. Yeah, and then the next habit is influence. Yeah, how can you best inspire and serve those that you love to serve? Whether it's your client, whether it's your wife, whether it's your husband, whether it's the people who you love to lead. Yeah, so those are the habits that I coach around predominantly. That was just an explanation of what they are. There's much deeper into what the frameworks look like. But yeah, and once leaders become clear about what these things are, they create results like this. Yeah, I have this one client. Yeah, she's a mom and she's an entrepreneur, and she's never hit a certain figure in her company. Yeah, for all since she has 2 restaurants. Yeah, and she's never hit $500,000 in both of her company, and she spent 3 months with me. 3 months. Yeah, and that year she hit $500,000 in each of her companies. Yeah, and plus she's a mom and she have to manage these companies. The thing is, once you're clear about who you are, once you have the energy to make decision and to really move, once you have those difficult conversations early and you have the confidence to shop, trust me, anything becomes possible.
Wow. Okay, so speaking to habits, I was going to talk about that, but you just itemized all this. Going through this process, yeah, like you will know my mind. You're answering my questions before time. So speaking to this, going through this process of making 6 figures and all that, there should be some things that will cause burnout, right? I think so. So how do you help prevent burnout in this process? How do you help prevent burnout?
Well, I think predominantly the habits that I explained would more or less prevent burnout, because the first one was about clarity. Yeah, making sure that you're focusing on the things that you need to focus on. Yeah. When you become clear about who you want to be in the future, yeah, you'll start to realize certain things about your environment. Like the people you start hanging out with may not really match up to who you want to become. Yeah, there will be some relationships that you need to cut, and there will be relationships that you need to start to foster as well. Yeah, and when we talk about energy, yeah, it's all about your well-being, how you feel, the vibrancy that you're bringing. The number one reason for burnout is when people lack balance. Yeah, they lack balance between themselves, how they're taking care of themselves, and the work that they're doing. Yeah, and if you don't have that great balance between the amount of work that you're doing on your business and the amount of work that you're doing on yourself, yeah, you'll run out of fuel. Yeah, there's this analogy with the plane. It says that if you're in a plane, yeah, and the plane is going down, and then the mask drops, yeah, who does it set to put the mask on first if you're a parent? Yourself. Yeah, you got to make sure that you have oxygen first before you can help someone else. Yeah, and sometimes that's one of the biggest mistakes that a lot of us would make as leaders. Yeah, because a lot of leaders have what we call helper syndrome. Yeah. Especially coaches, they have helper syndrome. They want to help everybody except for themselves. They don't believe that they are worthy enough yeah, to have this type of lifestyle. They don't even believe that they're worthy enough to be paid this amount of money. I was there. I felt like that. Yeah, I didn't feel like I was good enough. Yeah, but that's a certain level of reprogramming that needs to happen. Yeah, on a mental level and on a physical level as well.
Oh, okay, great. So you said something that I think really causes burnout when people grow up, because sometimes they try to do more than themselves. They try to help, and they've not gotten to that extent. I spoke to one of these coaches one of these days on my last episode, where she said, "You cannot give out from an empty cup." And
yes,
I
sir.
totally agree to that. In fact, she went further to say, you have to give from a filled cup, not just a filled cup, an overflowing cup, meaning you have to give out from your saucer. So you need to really, really get comfortable enough to be able to give so you don't burn out. So to our viewers out there, we know you want to help people. We encourage giving, we encourage helping, but in the process of growing, so you don't burn out and get depressed because you have things in mind that you want to achieve. Try to help, but don't help above what you can do, So give out from your overflow. Try to always have a full cup and then give out from your overflow. That's my advice. So I'll move on to yes sir too. Yes sir too. And so people like success stories, people like running after people who have results and all that. So can you share a success story of someone you've worked with and the impact your coaching had on their business and personal life? Yeah.
Well, I have a few. I think one of my first ever clients was a manager at General Motors. Yeah, and she was a middle manager. And, when we worked together, one of the things that we discovered was that, she didn't feel confident. Yeah, even she was a leader, she was a manager, and she loved to help people. And she didn't feel confident. And, through the work that we did together, she was bold enough, to really step into her truth as a leader. And now she is the director of after sales in General Motor in the European sector. Yeah, and that was just working together with me. I think we worked together we're still working together. We worked together for years, been a year and some now. Yeah, so that's one success story that I'm really proud of. And if she's listening to this, she knows who she is. Yeah, and also I told you about the mom. Yeah, the mom, she has two restaurants here in China. Yeah, we worked together for 3 months actually. Yeah, she moves a lot. So we worked together for 3 months, and she doubled her revenue in both restaurants during that period of time when we were working together. I have this other client as well. He's a student counselor. However, he wanna be a coach on the side, and he was one of the first clients who I literally help as a coach in that essence. And that's why I started to make my shift in my business as well, because I realized how powerful the tools I was using. And he was able to not only work full-time, but also has his coaching business on his side where he's making as much money as he's making in his full-time. Yeah, and giving him the freedom to travel. And if he right now he want to quit his job, he can decide to do that if he wants to. Yeah. So those are just few of the success stories that I have so far, and I'm really excited to create more. Yeah.
Wow,
I'm really right now I'm really excited about helping more high achieving coaches really step into their truth. Yeah, and it's not about the money, to be honest. It's not about hitting 6 figures. Yes, it's more about the impact. Yeah, the last 3 years has been rough for every single human being on the planet. Yeah, I'll say majority of humans, and today coaches are needed more than ever before. Like, I wish when I was experiencing what I was experiencing, I had access to a coach. Yeah, I had access to a community like that. So I think, I've been put in a very unique place to really support coaches on their journey.
Wow. So you just brought something to my attention, speaking to experiences and challenges. So Can you speak to any challenges you faced along your journey to becoming a high performance coach and how you overcame them? Now, this is the reason why I am asking this particular question. Okay. We know that a lot of people want to move from point A to point B, and a lot of people still don't know how to, and a lot of people are facing different challenges, which leads to depression, right? Which leads to depression, and sometimes some people burn out and run out and don't even come back. So this is one of the reasons why we have Find Happiness, because we bring very important and resource persons like you to address these issues in our daily lives, to help us not go from amber to red. Instead, we go back from amber to green and become normal people. So just highlight these challenges and how you battled them. That is very important at this point.
Yeah, I think for me, one of the biggest challenge I've had personally is lacking the confidence in myself. Yeah, I didn't, how to say, valuing my work is one of the things that has been the most difficult for me. And as a result, I would overwork, and undervalue. And as a result of that, here's a few things that happens. It spilled over into my romantic relationship. Yeah, and if you are a guy and you are an entrepreneur, and your work is really spilling over into your relationship, you know the kind of stress that causes. Yeah, and when things are not good in your relationship, they're not going to be good at work. Yeah, so one day way how I have really overcome these challenges is to, have a coach of my own. Yeah, have somebody to really, really hold me accountable to who I need to be. Yeah, not only in my business, but, as a boyfriend, as a son. Yeah, that becomes very important. Also, having a community of coaches to support me as well. Yeah, one day even, is the things in your past that are usually the biggest clutches. Yeah, one of the things that I've been working on as well as my relationship with my dad. Yeah, and I've always been blaming him for a lot of things subconsciously and not taking responsibility for those. And the moment I realized that, okay, I need to take responsibility and my dad has his own demons he had to deal with, it became empowering. Yeah. So that's what I have to say in terms of overcoming, really having relationships, that would support you through the journey, because you can't do this by yourself. Nothing great was ever achieved without a team. That could include family, that could include friends, it could include your partner. So that becomes very important.
Wow, nice one. So I think I grabbed something out of this. You need to get a team, a community to support you in what you're doing. Get like minds, get positive-minded people around you. So whenever you are falling, someone will pick you up. You don't fall. Makes a lot of sense. So do I ask this last question? Yeah. So
go ahead.
So is the word, I'm battling with the word, right? So, but I'm going to switch it, but I'm sure you know the word I'm battling with. So
let me hear.
How do you define beautiful leadership, and how do you incorporate it to your coaching and training? I think that's the last question I want you to take.
Beautiful leadership. That's interesting. I've never heard that one. That's an interesting one.
Yeah, you know the word. I'm trying to, there's a word I'm avoiding.
Yes. I know the word. I believe that fit leaders are better leaders. And it's something that I wrote today. I think our greatest enemy is ourselves. That self within us that is not aware, that self within us who lacks clarity, that self within us that are stressed and full of anxiety. And when the word beautiful that we're using, it's a metaphor. It's a metaphor for your optimal self. So when I say that word, I have a visual picture of what that looks like. And it shows, it's testament to the individual character. Yeah, an individual who's able to achieve that level of leadership, yeah, it says a lot about his character. Yeah, just by seeing that person from a distance, you know that this is a serious person because they have the discipline to really put in the work to create this specimen. Yeah, and I really believe that fit leaders are better leaders. Yeah, they're better in their relationships at home, they're better in their relationships with their kids, and they're better in their relationship with their team. Yeah, and as coaches, they're better in their relationships with their clients because you can't take your clients any deeper than you have went yourself.
Okay, yeah. Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. That brings us to an end of this episode. And
I'm curious, why you don't want to say the word? Is it censored?
Yeah, I really,
okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. Anyway, that brings us to the end of this episode. Before we wrap up, would you like to share your contact information? Because I believe a lot of people want to reach out to you and see that they make these 6 figures. 6 figures are very important in this hard time. So please, if you don't mind, share your contact info so our viewers will be able to reach out to you and see that they make their lives better, they get off depression, and they become better people by the day, by the second, by the minute, whatever, however. Just pop up this contact info, please. Thank you.
It'll be my pleasure. Like right now, I'm focusing on helping high achieving coaches, and I'm really becoming more focused on the people that I'm working with. You know, I know I can help a lot of persons, but I believe the place I serve best is with coaches, and it's me serving them and them getting the service that they need. And anyone who would love to connect, yeah, if you're a coach or entrepreneur, you can go to levelupwithdeano.com. Yeah, that's Deano, Deano.com, and you can just check out. Yeah. Depends on where you are in the world, it's Deano. Yeah, you can check out my work, and yeah, we can have a conversation. You can check me out on Instagram or Facebook. Yeah, my name is the same, Deano Delpleash, Deano, and Delpleash is Delpleash. Yeah, just holler me on Instagram or Facebook, and yeah, I'll most definitely love to chat. If you're in China as well, yeah, my WeChat is the same as well.
Oh, nice. So, to our viewers, you just heard from Deano, who's a high performance coach, who's on a mission to make leadership sex beautiful.
Beautiful your work too.
Beautiful by helping. Yeah, who's on a mission to make leadership beautiful by helping 1 million high achieving coaches and experts